Welcome to the Essential Skills for Humaning podcast, where we explore the fundamental abilities and insights that make us better humans. Here's your host, Christina Eanes.
Hi, everyone. Christina Eanes here. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Essential Skills for Humaning. Today, I have my co-host, Lori Muhstein.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. So today we're talking about a life that fits, designing around being human. Interesting. So I'm preparing to release the second edition of the Secret to Super Productivity. So I've gotten very clear on why I created the system in the first place. It was never about doing more in less time. You know, we teach, we'll call it time management, but we kind of do it sneakily in the class, right? But the system is more about managing energy, right? Time is fixed, energy is not. Yet, as we well know, most productivity systems treat us like machines, right? Expecting constant output regardless of our sleep, stress, emotions, or life. And when we can't meet that standard, we assume we're the problem, right? I mean, we were just talking before about having a cold, 'tis the season, right? Or traveling, or snow days, or just not being motivated. But this system is about working with yourself instead of against yourself. And there's one quote from the book, and I sent you this a few days ago, that I thought we could talk about today. Because after writing it, I realized it fits with everything that we do. Work, productivity, relationships, emotions, mental health, physical health, habits, right? How we handle change. I mean, I could name so many more areas. But here's the quote. You are not broken. You are human. Let's design for that.
Loved it.
Hey. So since it's the beginning of the year, how about for framing our conversation? And so many people are focused on probably resolutions at this point, although I stopped that stuff.
I totally stopped that.
I know.
I don't call them resolutions. I call them goals, maybe at this point. That my goal this year is to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But not I resolve to.
Exactly. Ugh, dirty word, resolutions. I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Just kidding.
Yeah. No, but I thought, agree.
Yeah, I thought since that quote does cover so much, right? Let's focus on productivity, habits and change, and let's call it life design. So relationships, health goals, etc. Good?
Great.
I love it.
And I loved it too, Chris, because it was funny when I was teaching our time management class. I know time management quotes.
We got to go with what most people will recognize, right?
Exactly. And when I teach that one, and also so many other ones, it's that old Shakespeare line, "To err is human." I let people know, we are people. We have. There are things that go on, and I loved what you said about being a machine. We're not machines.
Exactly.
We have lives. We have, like you said, snow days and cold and everything that just throw that wrench in that, those best laid plans get pushed out. Things happen. So
absolutely.
I love the topic.
So design for that. We are human. Productivity. I used to be, and I still am. I like being productive. It gives me energy, gets me excited, right? But I used to be I shouldn't be sitting here. Even though I'm tired, I should be doing something. So I thought maybe we could start with productivity and maybe start with a reframe of you don't struggle because you lack discipline. You struggle because most systems are built for machines, not humans.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the mindset in relation to that? I should be doing something. I should be doing something.
And I still have that mindset. And I have to, sometimes I have to have that little switch in my brain that says, you don't have to. One of the things maybe you should be doing is to relax and not do something.
Yes.
We can turn that around a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's productive in and of itself too.
Yeah.
I think about people, in snow days. And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to use this day to throw stuff out and organize my cabinets. And they feel like they're constantly having to, like you said, that machine, you have to constantly be doing something. And you don't, maybe taking a snow day means reading a book, doing some puzzles, hanging out with the fam,
Yeah.
So we have to just kind of turn that around and say, that's productive in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say, especially in our leadership classes, when we're talking about delegation, because people are like, oh, it's faster to do it myself. Right. And I think this just totally relates. Sometimes you need to slow down in order to speed up.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we delegate too, when we talk about delegation, that frees us up to do something maybe more meaningful for us, maybe some high level, but it's also something that we're doing some good for somebody else.
Absolutely.
That's a growth opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's the way that we couch it that really makes the difference,
Yeah. Oh, I think this all comes down to reframing, right?
Yeah. It's totally reframing.
Absolutely.
When you told me about this topic, I was thinking about how this, affected me, or maybe a story that, I can relate. And there's something that happened to me a couple of years ago, and it still sticks with me. And it taught me a lot about being human under pressure. And so do you mind if I share that?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. So I was working on a project and juggling way too many commitments,
Of course. Yeah.
Right. There's so much going on. There's lots of change. I was already stretched thin. And there was some tension between myself and a colleague, and we didn't have a great relationship to begin with. And we were supposed to meet in our small group. There were 3 of us, and he was very late, very late. I always felt like that's, disrespectful to me, because we were going to be talking about my project and I had stuff to do and my other teammate had stuff to do. And in my very stressed, very frustrated state, I meant to message another colleague and vent.
Oh,
and
no.
I typed in, oh, it's coming. It's coming because we've all done it. I said, of course he's late. He clearly doesn't care about this project because it's mine. And you know who I sent this to, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I sent it to him. And that was not a good outcome, right? It wasn't a good outcome. Relationship was even more fractured. There were words that were said that people can't take back. Our trust was gone. And actually, my reputation took a hit, right?
Yeah.
And so it still sticks with me, but it sticks with me. It was in the beginning, obviously, something that I was very ashamed of and very upset about. But if I look at it years later, a couple of years later, I think about what could I have done better, right? Because it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
We're going to be stressed. We're going to have more commitments. We're going to have lots of projects, juggling things in the air. And the things that came to me on this was I should have taken a breath. Right? Should have taken a breath. And instead of venting to the wrong person, I really should have thought about the relationship to begin with and talked to him on the side and provided some feedback. And we teach this stuff. And I wish I had these classes at that point. But I didn't. And so when we talk about productivity, what does that story tell me? That story tells me that productivity actually took a dive because I then had to spend time repairing whatever I could repair. And so more things were thrown at me versus being very focused on what I was doing. And to your point, we're people, we're not machines. We react, we have emotions.
Yes.
So that was the story. When you told me about the topic, I'm like, yeah, this is something that teaches a lesson in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But productivity really did take a hit as a result of that.
Absolutely. Right. Well, and that's part of admitting that we're human, right? We have fluctuating energy, attention, emotions. That's one for me. I will often think, oh, well, I need to get stuff done. And then I have some strong emotion. First thought is, oh, I don't have strong emotions. I just need to keep going. Nope. Second is I need to build in recovery time in that, right? So designing our work around human rhythms. When are we high energy? When are we low energy? Are we building in recovery? Right. So instead, stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what would work better for human, because humans are involved and I'm human.
Yeah. And I mean, to that point, and at that moment, I could say I was being unprofessional, but if I reframe it, I was really being a human being under stress.
Yes.
As being a human being under stress. And, and it's very similar to what you said, is that we design work and communication assuming people will be clear, calm, and collected.
Yes. So maybe a takeaway from that, which is, by the way, I'm glad that we've had the experiences that we had, because now we can teach others to avoid them, right? But now knowing that, so an example of designing around humans would be not sending messages, right? Not touching text or email until we have calmed down. Because that's when mistakes happen, right? So designing around that. When I'm upset, I'm going to stay away from communication devices. Right? Yeah.
What that also taught me was instead of putting the person's name in the to.
Yes.
Right? Leave it blank.
Yeah.
Leave it blank. Type out what you wanted to say. It's like writing the letter, and then read it.
Yeah.
And then think it through. So.
Yes. Ooh, this brings me to, which we don't need to get into too much. We'll just do a little teaser on it. But in our feedback course, people can look it up, right? We go through the radical candor model. Right. So making sure that we are in that challenging directly and care deeply versus like manipulative insincerity, right? Going and causing more issues by venting to someone else in a very negative way, or obnoxious aggression, right? Emailing that person directly with "rar." Yeah. So making sure it's another great way. Nowadays we have AI. We can help us say, "Hey, make this firm but professional," right? Or whatever we need to do. Help me express my dismay with a colleague for being late and how it impacted my project in a professional way that would maintain the relationship. I don't know, right? So we can get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to the productivity theme, that helps us trying to avoid the situation that I found myself in.
Absolutely. Right? So let's move into, go ahead.
No, it's like, I was going to say, it's like having a therapist. Without having to pay, $250 an hour.
There we go. We have saved ourselves.
Although I'm not espousing that.
Of course. So let's talk about then habits and change, because that's a lot during this time of year, the first quarter. So one thing in reading Atomic Habits, and I'm trying to think of the other books. There are so many by BJ Fogg. There's a lot of great work in the habits area. And one of the things I like to think about with this is failure to maintain our habits or develop new ones is not a moral weakness. It's actually biology. Right?
I love it.
Our motivation is unreliable. Our willpower is finite. So the more that we can develop systems, those outperform grit, so with a person that we're making a decision like, tonight I'm going to eat so healthy and I'm going to do this. And then you get to tonight, you've had one hell of a day and you're like, I'm just going to have that wine and dessert, right? So willpower is going out the door, decision making, right? So designing for that, giving us space to be human, knowing that the person making the decision today is not the person who's going to be implementing it tomorrow. So thinking about what are some ways that we can do that. I don't know, thoughts you have on that?
Well, I mean, I kept, I really zoned in on the willpower thing. It's kind of like having that plan B, plan C, plan D.
Yes.
And it's saying, okay, I'm not failing. I am going to my next strategy.
Yes.
For what I need to do next.
Yeah.
And planning for what you said in planning, making sure that the person doing it today may not be the person doing it tomorrow is I always come back to the communication, right?
Yeah.
It's the communication of if you're passing something along to somebody, you need to have that face-to-face communication and I don't want to say training, because how I do things are not necessarily the way that you do things.
Yeah.
So it's being able to say, these are the things that have to happen, but how you get there is going to be according to what you feel comfortable with. I don't know if that's what we're driving towards.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the whole area, right? Thinking about, so what I'm hearing from that one, making a, plan B, C, D, planning for failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Planning for failure, designing for friction, make good behaviors easier.
Yep.
Like we were just talking about, good behaviors easier, not putting someone's name in the to line until you're done writing the thing, right? And make draining behaviors or behaviors that aren't serving us harder to implement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, like the classic, right? Everyone wants to eat healthier and exercise, right? So making those things easier to do, like not having junk food easily accessible,
Right.
deleting those DoorDash apps or whatever. So, but making sure we have ready-made meals in there ready to go, because we know the person looking in the fridge at 5 p.m. who's hungry and tired is going to make different decisions than the person who's like, hey, I just got started, right? The other thing along those lines too is not being that person that's like, oh, I failed. Say it's Wednesday. I failed. I'll just start back on Monday. So that all or nothing, that black and white thinking, instead it's okay. I just had a snack that I wasn't intending on doing. I'm going to do better at dinner. And this is a system I'm going to put in so that I can do better, so that I'm not relying on my willpower or decisions when that person's going to be different than I am right now.
Yeah. And a thought just also came to my head when you said about, when do we have the energy? When don't we have the energy? Right.
Yeah.
I know that you are definitely more of an earlier morning person than I.
Yes.
Right? You have your ton of energy in the morning, and I typically get moving a little bit better late morning to the afternoon. I'm really geared up in the afternoon, and you wind down later in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So working
like
together,
right after lunch.
Working together, we have figured out where's some of that overlap.
Yeah.
And where do we both have the energy?
Mm-hmm.
And having our meetings then.
There you go.
So just kind of figuring out your team and where's everybody fit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So maybe
you get the most out of people then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Right. Figuring out where and compromising, right, on that. So maybe the conclusion to this one is, if change depends on how you feel, it will always collapse under stress.
Mm-hmm.
So plan for it and be okay with redos. Be
Right.
okay with bouncing back because you're human. It's going to happen. Doesn't mean you're broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we always talk about this too. When, we do make mistakes, right? People make mistakes. We do.
Yeah.
It's what do we learn from those mistakes?
Yeah.
How's it going to manifest itself again? Because the situations are not new.
Yeah.
They just manifest themselves differently.
Yeah.
So if we learn from that, like the story that I shared, if that happened again, I would certainly handle this a lot differently.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope I would.
You would.
Yeah.
You would be like, okay, I can feel I'm an amygdala hijack right now. I need to go find myself some space and chill out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Final area for this. Let's talk about life design. And that's the best thing I could think to call it. Like goals, relationships, health, considering all of that. And I think the reframe for this one would be a good life is not one that you power through. It's one that works for you, right? So thinking through what works for us. Again, I'm human. I forget. My attention drifts. I get tired. I feel deeply, like the story that you told. Instead, designing how we can, okay, I strayed. How can I return? Right to back. Maybe I strayed with feeling deeply on something and sent an email. How am I going to clean that up? Or, I ate a cookie when I had a health goal. How am I going to clean that up? Well, one, have the cookie, just have it in moderation. Right? We're human. It's going to happen. Having compassionability for ourselves, right? Compassion rather. And then maybe also sustainability. How can I, is this a behavior that I can sustain? Is it something I want, that I need? I mean, there's so much that could fall into that. Is this a relationship I want to sustain? Is this, can I sustain this new thing I decided I'm going to do? Like get up at 5 a.m. every morning and go walk 5 miles and lift weights, right? Is this sustainable, or what is more realistic? What stories am I telling myself that I should be doing versus what's the goal and what are a lot of different ways I can get there?
Yeah. Thoughts? Am I kidding myself on this?
I am not getting up at 5 a.m. and working out. No.
Well, I think it's part of the self-talk, right? I think that's part of the self-talk of, kind of doing that assessment, right?
Yeah.
Being mindful of your stresses. We talked about the rational defensive continuum.
Yeah.
And being mindful of, where am I? Is my body telling me that I am being defensive? And if it is, because it does, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows when they're being defensive. It's the intention of moving ourselves down the continuum. So that's, I think, is part of it too. I think that recognizing if we're really, really stressed out and we're in these situations, what do I need to do to either calm down, bring myself lower? Do I need space? Does the other person need space? So I think that is part of the intent, the intentional piece of it,
Absolutely. Yeah. And something I wish maybe someone would have told me many years ago, stop building a life that requires you to be superhuman to survive.
Yeah.
Especially women, I think. Not to get into gender stuff, but I think it's especially for women too.
Yeah, I think we put a lot of stress on ourselves to be like the superhero.
Yeah. To run everything perfectly, home, work, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Being a perfectionist, and I wish I could say I am a recovering perfectionist, but I work on it.
Yeah.
It's saying we're doing things not to be perfect. We're doing things to get progress.
Yes. Ooh, I love it. So some things maybe for folks to think about in our closing today. right? Where am I treating my humanity like a flaw? So thinking through that, right? Where am I forcing myself instead of designing for myself? So I thought those would be two good things for people to think about.
I like what you said about relationships, and it kind of dovetails back to the relationship that I had in that story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that person and I were ever going to have, what I was going to say, a great relationship, but I think we could have had a better working relationship. And if I tap into what you were talking about with radical candor,
Mm-hmm.
it's the ability to really understand who the other person is and how then do we challenge directly.
Yeah.
So, I'm caring personally, not meaning that somebody has to be your BFF.
Yeah. But you care about the work relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how do I challenge that directly versus, just coming out on, whatever and telling you what I thought, but not intending to tell you what I thought.
Yeah.
I was intending to tell somebody else what I thought. So, and that's, that's the downfall of manipulative insincerity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is telling somebody else what you think.
Yeah. Then it spreads. Yeah.
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 So it's the choice that I wasn't going to choose to develop a close personal relationship, but the choice of having a better working relationship.
There you go.
So I think choice of relationship and the extent of it is important.
Awesome. Okay. Some final words for our folks, our listeners. You are not broken. You are human. And the moment you stop fighting that, you gain the power to design a life that finally fits. All right. We will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to the Essential Skills for Humaning podcast. We hope you've gained valuable insights to enhance your journey as a human being. Remember, practice makes progress. Keep honing those essential skills. And until next time, keep being the best version of yourself. For more resources, visit eanestraining.com.